Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka Podcast.
Baka. It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka Part 2 of a two-part series where we watched Food Wars, and now we're watching the second part. We're still in the first season, but we watched the second half of it. We watched episodes 13 through 24. If you haven't watched with us so far, you might want to go back to our first episode, kind of catch up. But otherwise, if this is your first time, we're a podcast that talks about anime that we watched every 2 weeks. We pretend we're a book club, but we don't actually read anything.
Nor is this intellectual.
No way whatsoever.
Very little.
My name is Troy, and I'm glad you pressed play. I'm not quite sure why you did, but hey, whatever. To talk about this anime, I need to introduce my fellow co-hosts. First off, we have the peanut butter to my jelly, Jeremy. What you been up to?
I've been playing Hard West. You guys heard of that game? It's a little bit of almost an XCOM-y kind of game. It's tactical, but it's very much Hard West. You got a little bit of steampunk, especially when it comes to how the gun designs are. Really, really cool.
This sounds like it's hitting every single one of your checkboxes of the perfect game. A little steampunk, a little XCOM, a little tactical.
It's super atmospheric too. Like there's a lot of occultic stuff going on, and so there's like the devil is actually essentially setting things up, and you're kind of playing into his plans and working against him, and it's really, really cool. I beat it. At least the main campaign. I still have to go back and play the expansion, but I definitely recommend it. It's a fun game.
Nice. So we also have the pickles to my caramel. Jason, how you been?
What?
Yeah, it's disgusting. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so that's how this relationship is going.
I thought it was like a secret delight or something.
Is this your first episode of the podcast?
I'm sick as a dog tonight, so if I sound a little different to our viewers or listeners, I apologize.
You just casted sexy no jutsu on your voice.
My chakra's low though. No, I've been deep into 7 Days to Die again, and I got bored with my base because there wasn't a lot of challenge, so I was like, I could raise difficulty, or now I'm going back through it from day one, and my only rule is no base.
Oh.
Yeah. So right now I'm like day 4, day 5, and I have not found as much ammo as I really need.
Oh, geez.
So it's going to get to a point where I find this, like, precarious spot, try and run out of ammo, and then they're just going to knock down the building or whatever I'm in, and then they're just going to eat me. So we'll see how it goes.
Our fan base might kill me over this, but you guys, when you play games like this in RimWorld, and there's these super cinematic moments that these horrible games actually create, you should clip them somehow and put them on our blog.
That's actually pretty good.
Like, you're watching you die to zombies. I'd press play. I'm a view.
Yeah.
Actually, Troy nearly punched me through text when I sent him a RimWorld comic that had too much of the feels.
Yep.
I have no idea what that meant. I was looking at I read it. I read a bunch of the comments. I'm like, I have no idea what any of this means. I was so lost. But that's okay. That's okay. Nope, we're not getting into RimWorld.
I was so sad.
It was
guys, I did something awesome with my 2 weeks.
Oh, you saw RimWorld came out with a new version.
You are sick. I made the first meal from the first episode of Food Wars that we talked about on our last podcast. It's the roast pork just kidding, or roast pork gotcha, where you take a mashed potato mix with onions and mushrooms and you wrap it in bacon and then make a red wine sauce on top of it. Me and my daughter made it together. It took way too long. It was definitely not a 5-minute action scene, but I made something that I saw in anime, and that was really, really cool. I did find the recipe online for guys who had tried making it. I don't remember the website, but it's not like I figured it out on my own, just to be fair. But it was really good and really cool. The red wine sauce made the meal, though, for sure.
Did any clothes explode?
I ate it with my kids, so thank goodness no.
It's just a so-so.
Yeah. Oh, well. And so let's actually start talking about the second half of the first season of Food Wars. We watched, like I said, the 13th episode through the 24th episode, and we're going to now give our non-spoiler review of just that section. This is not a overall of a Food Wars. That will definitely come at the end of this episode, as well with our contact information and ways you can message us. But for now, non-spoilery, 13 through 24. Go, guys. Nice. We are professionals.
That was totally intentional.
You could have named one of us to start. Anyway, I will go first.
It's been a year. You guys should have like a synergy of passing it back and forth by now.
I love the awkward silence on anime where it kind of deserves a little bit of an awkward silence. I think this one does. So
yeah, I was about to say, because I felt it fell off from the first 13. I felt the first 13 were really strong, and I didn't know why. And I was complaining to you guys because I started watching Dragon Ball Super. I told myself I wouldn't dive back in. Here I am, like an addict, saying I don't need any more.
Sorry, just to pause you. Rest in peace, Bulma's Japanese voice actress.
Yes,
found that out. That was a big bummer.
Oh.
That was a really big bummer.
Go ahead. But, not to super derail that, but I wanted to say something. So
yeah, no, I'm glad you did. But it's interesting because I felt this weird sense of shonen fatigue. Because there wasn't anything specific I didn't want to watch about Food Wars, but it was just the ongoing pressing on of the next episode to the next episode to the next. And like I said, because this side of the anime was not as strong as the first, or at least I felt it wasn't as strong, even though it had a bigger climax. It was more of the same, I guess, with some interesting twists and nice character relationships, but I didn't feel the stakes like I did in the first season, or the first half.
I wonder how much of that has to do with pacing. I mean, I don't know if the pacing was good or maybe lacking a little bit. We can get into it as we talk about it, I'm sure. But
how about this? Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, but this overall arc, when they come back to school and they're going to do their final battles, right? I'm not spoiling anything, but they're going through that final arc. Were they or were they not going to be kicked out if they didn't make the top? Because I didn't think they were. I think it was
they're not. You're not cooked out, but they of course lay the thing that if you bomb, since these are like major food critics, your name is going to have infamy for the rest of your life.
Right. So I didn't feel that sense of urgency or that sense of defeat with this side, which in the first side with the Camp from Hell, you did bad. You were out. You were gone. You were going home.
I have comments on that, but I feel like it's going to get into spoilers if I do, because I do want to comment.
Let's talk about it more later.
Yeah. When we get to the autumn elections, we definitely need to bring that up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say to you is I'd say your challenge tonight, as we talk about it, is dividing what was fatigue and what was actually wrong,
right,
with Food Wars.
And fatigue specifically because you had two shonens going simultaneously.
Which I stopped DBZ Super, to be honest. I haven't watched it since I picked this back up. But I did have that feel of, okay, here we go, trudging into the next one because I need to. So, anyways, we'll dive into it more. But overall, it was good. I'm glad I watched it. I never thought I would say this on this show. In fact, I never thought we would watch this anime on this show.
Okay, Jeremy, go ahead.
I thought it was good. I don't think it measures up to the first half, which is kind of sad because you'd expect that the second half should be better than the first half. But, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that much worse than the first half. I'm sure we'll get into the details. But, yeah, I liked it. It was good. I think that the characters individually had more of a chance to shine than they did in the first half. A lot of the first half was establishing who Soma was and establishing what he could do. And I think in this one, a lot of the other characters kind of got established a little bit more themselves. We got a lot more history on some of them. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of nice.
And it kind of felt like 6 episodes of preparing for the next season.
Totally. Yeah. The last 6 episodes.
Yeah.
There's definitely an awkward season end break. And if you're binging this and, right now and you just started, you're not even going to notice because you're going to go into season 2 and the plot line going to carry over. But we definitely feel like we stopped in the middle of something. Mm-hmm. So that's something you got to be aware of. If you are watching, like if you rented or bought the first season only, right? And it came on DVD and you watched it all, you're going to end on a kind of a cliffhanger area.
I almost have a sense of bitterness that it ended there. Just a teeny tiny little bit.
And honestly, when I first picked this, I was wondering how that would affect things because we do have the very unique sensation of stopping when the season ends, where a lot of people would probably just go press play on the next episode. Mm-hmm. For me, I feel this half of this season, the highs are higher, but the lows are lower, and the biggest thing is I felt like it became a little more formulaic. It's getting into its rhythm and you can kind of see that rhythm and it kind of is like, okay, this is the episode where they're setting up the problem. And then here's the episode where they're beating the problem and then repeat. Even in our show notes, you can see we kind of go 2 episode by 2 episode as these 2 episode arcs happen, set up problem, beat problem. And you just kind of get that might wear it down a little bit. But like I said, I actually thought the highs of this season were better than the highs of last season, for me. Mm-hmm. With that said, we got a new ending theme song. So let's go ahead and talk about it.
It was weird.
We got a new beginning theme song too. Yeah.
The new beginning one was pretty cool. The song wasn't as great, I thought, but the animation was brilliant. I did like the animation of the opening.
Animating it like it's a battle shonen instead of a food shonen. And they, little spoiler, they keep doing that for the rest of the seasons. Like it just gets more and more action ridiculous and like powering up and flames and riding giant knives into the sky and blasting lasers at each other.
It knows what it is. I love that.
So I actually really enjoyed it. The song from the first season, it was better. The ending, though, guys, we've been commenting on it for the entire time we've been watching this.
So right away, when I watched the first episode where that had changed, I sent both pictures that I'd snapped from the intro and from the outro, and I'm like, what is going on here in both of these cases? And in the second one where I'm like, what is with the creepiness? I couldn't really understand what she was saying there. Jason really cleared it up for me later. but just the pictures, like you've got this, you're watching, what's Ikumi? No, not
it's
Ikumi.
Irina,
yeah.
And Hisako.
And her secretary, yeah. You're watching the two of them through binoculars and it's just, it's creepy. It's super voyeuristic.
So in the dub, in a couple of the episodes, they translated the lyrics, and I think it's meant to be being sung by the voyeur, and she's saying, "You're out of potatoes, Sanchan. You're out of such and such. You won't find that cool. There."
That's great. She's like thinking how to sabotage the secretary. That's funny. I like that.
I don't know if you guys got to a point where you started skipping the ending. I know I did a couple times. There is a payoff to this joke around like episode 22, where the effect, basically everything's not gross. Everything is white and clean. Which we'll get into. But okay, so I complained about this ending. Like, why is this side character? Like, she's a side character, 2 side characters, and she's getting her own ending theme song. And I'm like, I don't. Why is she such a focus? Well, it turns out for this one joke.
I missed it because I skipped it just to, so I was complaining about this in the pre-show, is that they've done it since episode 1. After the credits and after the credit song, there's this vital piece of like little information that if you miss, and they did it a couple times in the second half, you will lose context in later scenes, and I think I really don't like that.
I think I actually kind of like it a little bit. For me, it's like a dessert. You know that it's sitting there. You don't know what it's going to say, but you know that it's worth checking out. I always fast forward, except for the first half of this Food Wars season. I watched it because I loved that outro. But in this one, I did. I fast forwarded it. But it actually got me chomping at the bit to see it. So, yeah.
A lot of it, I think, has to do with how easily you can fast forward to it. If you're watching on your computer and you can just click, great. I watched a lot through the PlayStation VRV app, and that's not so easy to fast forward. So,
I was watching on Crunchyroll, so it was like, bam.
Yeah, so I think that has to do with part of it. And I feel like it's them forcing us to watch their end credits, and when someone makes something, I don't really mind them forcing me to watch the end credits so that they can have their credit of making it. My only big issue was like 2 times they didn't do it. So I sit through the end credits, I'm ready for the what is it, and they're like, okay, next episode. Wait, no. You told me there would be we hadn't
next time on Food Wars.
Okay, we should move into our actual story. So from here on out, spoilers for episodes 13 through 24, and definitely for everything before it. Again, I hope you listened or at least have watched the first part, because we'll probably reference it a couple times. Food Wars picks up where we left off. Soma and Megumi barely survived their Shokugeki with the alumni, and he's got a bruised ego about this. So you guys can see on our show notes what characters I plan to talk about, but I didn't pull out like Soma and Megumi and some of the main characters. Is there anything you want to say about their evolutions through this second arc before we move on?
Go ahead, Jeremy, because I do have some thoughts.
Okay. I was going to say, I think that Megumi especially changes a lot through this. I know you mentioned it a little bit in the pre-show, but this was one of the things that when you mentioned it, reminded me how much I enjoyed it. That she really grows into a character that's standing on her own 2 feet and trying to work with her own strengths. And in the same way that Soma's able to access all of his old knowledge and the things that he's learned, she kind of does the same thing. And that's not something that you would expect or see from her the way she was presented throughout the first half of the season. So it was actually really cool to see her develop. And then there was one other character that I thought changed so much, and that is Irina. That's how you say her name, right? Yeah. I always have trouble with her name. Yeah, the big blonde. Oh, she changed at the end. She changed a lot. Yeah, and I actually really liked it. Going back to the Taming of the Shrew that I mentioned from last time, this was where she's starting to realize, oh my God, I have been a total jerk. And she's starting to question some of the ways that she behaved before. That was really cool to see. They didn't have to do that. It's nice that they did.
I also like that they're starting to open up her backstory, which kind of explains why she is what she is. But the reveal of who her mentor and idol is pretty great.
Yeah.
For me, I like that this season is Soma getting his butt kicked over and over again.
Yeah.
We talked about how he was a little over cocky. He was what do you call an overdog, right? He's always the best around, and then suddenly he's not. It clearly is lacking in a lot of things, and is trying to fight to catch up to other people. And I like that flip through this season for him. And Megumi, look, I think Erina is best girl, especially where I am in season 3. She is best girl. And Megumi, I usually don't care for, but this arc that she goes through, I actually even got emotional about it. Good for Megumi.
You nailed it for me. You just helped me discover why I was getting shonen fatigue with this. Soma, we mentioned it before. Soma's a reflection of Goku. It's that same. I'm beat. I need to be tenacious to push through so I can win in the end.
Right. Well, just like every shonen, Naruto, they all do it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was it. God. Anyway, it's because I was watching Super. I went into this, and here's another main character that's down on his skills, and he's getting better because he's tenacious, and he's going to win out in the end because he's the main character. I missed that character building with Erina, so that's interesting. I'd like to go back and actually check that out. But I did like Megumi's battle, specifically her ending battle. That was really fun to see. I didn't get emotional and choked up about it, but I was like, I found myself rooting for her more than any other character.
I think they definitely set her up better.
Side note, I was upset that with the lack of Takumi.
They even had shots where his hand was the only thing in the picture.
Like he was set up to be this perfect reflection of Vegeta, and then all of a sudden he's just off to the wayside and just kind of shows up.
Oh, the older Aldini brother.
Yeah, and he just shows up from scene to scene, and it's like there's 10 minutes where it's like all of a sudden he's making this fantastic thing, he presents it, and then he's gone again. It's like, okay.
I'll say this. I think the biggest weakness of Food Wars is that they try to build every character into a rival of Soma, and yet each one gets like higher tier. So it means the old rivals aren't rivals anymore. They're just guys who are, man, I wish I was as strong as you.
Yeah. They become less interesting, less formidable. But I kind of liked the direction that they went with him. I know that last time he was your favorite character because of that interesting relationship that he had with the protagonist. And this time, he kind of became sort of a sillier joke version of that.
Yes.
Like they really capitalized on it. They had more situations as far as ratio goes where it was just a joke. Him trying to
constantly, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to beat, and then no payoff.
Yeah,
it's just a stupid joke.
Yep.
And Troy's banner stuff.
That was great.
We've reached that part of the podcast where my computer hates me. Yay! Man, there is something I want to tell you about season 3, but I can't yet.
Okay.
I do intend to watch, so you'll tell me soon.
Yeah. So basically, they go through more challenges. Things are going about normal, and after a big day of cooking challenges, like they have been at this food camp from hell they've been at, Dojima makes an announcement. He's like, "Hey, tomorrow morning, you guys all have to serve a special egg breakfast, and you can go to bed or you can go figure out what you're gonna make. It's up to you. But there's a big challenge in the morning, and these kids are exhausted from cooking all day, but now they have to stay up all night and develop competitive recipes because they are going to be battling each other the next day with these egg recipes."
I actually really did like the surprise of the judges.
Who was the judges? Yeah,
that was actually a neat surprise.
So
really
cool. Basically, the competition is you have to serve 200 plates in a buffet style where every student has their own buffet area to serve in this big banquet hall, and they bring in all the farmers and their families and all the hotel workers and their families to come in and eat for free because of all the work they do for this academy, which I thought actually was like a pretty cool twist. And then having the kids in there. I was a little worried when they started the kids eat some of the food.
Yeah, I was too. I was like, where are you going with this?
But no, they kept it good. Before the battle starts, though, we meet first through Erina meets them, and then Soma meets them. We meet Alice and Rio. Alice is an albino girl who is a cousin of Erina, and Rio is her assistant that she carries around with her. Jason said yawn, but I'm going to let Jeremy start.
I got a kick out of these two characters together. Individually, like their cooking styles are interesting, especially because like Alice has this really scientific approach where she wants to make everything the sort of modern art food, which I didn't find it. Like if I could choose a cooking style, that's the farthest from the one that I would choose. But it was really entertaining to see, what she would come up with. It really was an art to watch. It was really cool.
I don't know if I drink a milkshake out of an egg, no matter how good it tasted.
Yeah, her approaches were really, really unorthodox, and I kind of like that. But what entertained me the most was the behavior between the two characters. Like Rio himself is like this straight guy who has no personality and doesn't care about anything. But then when he's going to cook, he puts his headband on and he goes berserk, and he becomes like you mentioned in the pre-show, the berserker of the team. Mm-hmm. And Alice is not intimidated or frightened by him at all. In fact, he's almost an incompetent to her, and yet he's her buddy, and she's always, I don't know, kind of berating him, but needs him. It was a really cool relationship that the two of them had. So.
Especially since Alice is doing this to mimic her cousin and her age.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, do this thing for me. And he's like, yeah, well, I don't care.
Yeah. Yep.
Jason, why so blah for you?
I didn't find okay. The first time we meet these two, I actually thought they were fairly interesting. The problem is that the writers didn't do anything with them. They made the gag, they set up the relationship, and nothing changed about it every single time we saw them. I thought her approach to cooking was interesting, and it was a nice dynamic to throw in with all the different styles, because there's, one person amazing with flavors, one person's amazing with smells, and she does amazing looking stuff that when you get close, it's actually something completely different.
Well,
even though it looks
science.
like
Her thing is science.
Right.
The scientist of the group.
Which I got really, really tired of them, like doing some sort of weird magic girl transformation with them, and then putting some sort of label on them.
Oh, I love
really?
that.
I loved that.
Yeah. It was getting so
that was
old.
Great.
So
like writing them down and okay, yeah. But that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so I thought they were interesting. I just wish that there was more danger to them, because they were trying to present themselves as a dangerous couple that was going to come upset the current status quo of the current characters. And all they did is, they were really good cooks. They were competitive to the rest of them, but they didn't do anything.
Dude, they're Team Rocket, man. They're Team Rocket.
Okay, so here's another one where I'm a little benefited from the future, but I'm in the middle of you guys. Alice, I do find blah. I find her scientific cooking not nearly as interesting as everyone else's discovery of flavor and stuff like that. And she's just an Arena wannabe. I think there's more to develop there between her and her cousin and their backstory, but right now I've never found her interesting. Rio, on the other hand, I find very interesting. Here's a guy who follows the girl around like a dog. He's just sullen and quiet and shy, and then he puts on that bandana when he cooks, and he's a monster. and I like that in this shonen anime aspect, we have our hero, we have a very clear contender for their top, and then they're adding this wild card, this guy who's as good as both of them, and we haven't even seen his best effort yet because he mentions when he cooks, I guess I should try harder. And because he's this berserker cook, he could end up doing anything or being anything. And I find him interesting. I love the two sides of his personality, but I also know his backstory. And how him and Alice, why they hang out together. So I might get the bonus of that.
Yeah, the Dr. Lame, Mr. Hyde transformation he does. I don't know. During the competition itself, like the ending competition, it felt a bit much. Like they were trying to push it in your face a little too hard.
He's over the top, but I think with the other two top contenders, I think it's, like I said, it's a nice wild card. It's an extra thing that I wouldn't expect.
Because I don't know how either A, to fix it, or B, how else to go about doing it. I don't know. Maybe it was just too much.
Yeah, I think everything about this anime is supposed to be over the top. So I don't know. Like, if you were to try to make it more subtle, it might ruin the combination of flavors that
Or you
make
just
up the
miss it.
anime. Yeah, you'd miss it.
Yeah.
So one problem with the recap of Food Wars is a lot of time is spent just explaining the meals that are presented. We actually don't see a lot of the cooking anymore. That's actually got pushed to the wayside. You get a few quick glances, maybe a few comments, but the shonen battle comes in the presentation and the tasting of the food. So we see like Megumi, who makes a nice one few bite dish with like little quail eggs and small vegetables and is loved by the judges. We see the Aldini boy make a salad with eggs, and but Soma ends up next to Arena, and this is the first time they've cooked side by side, and she mocks him when he mentions, "Hey, I'm making omelet souffles," and she's like, "Ha, awesome, good for you." And not only does she cook the pants off him, she wins the whole thing. She outsells everyone. She probably would have been competed with by Alice herself if it hadn't been for a lack of ingredients. She ran out of supplies. But we see like why she's in the Toski top 10, right? Meanwhile, Soma, his souffles are dying because he's used to diner cooking where you bring out the plate to your customer and you set it down in front of them and they eat it fresh. He's never done buffet cooking where you had to put out your food. It has to sit there for a while and still be delicious and appealing for someone walking by. So his souffles are sinking and going flat. And by the end of the episode, while other people are starting to pass, even Megumi gets finished. He's only had 10 plates of the 200 he needs taken. And then we go into the second episode and he has to perform cook.
Yeah.
Right. He gets a little girl to come over and try it, a fresh one, and she brings over more customers as she's exclaiming how good it is, and then he starts speed cooking.
He puts on a show.
Yeah, right. Just basically, if you've ever been to like a Benihana's where they cook in front of you, and they talk about that style of cooking, but yeah, this is probably one of the most famous scenes from Food Wars. Anytime you'll see videos of Food Wars, you'll see the scene of Soma flipping 20 souffles in pans at the same time and then catching them on plates. Any thoughts on this cooking scene? I thought it was pretty cool.
I really liked it. I liked everything that led up to it and also the scene itself. There was a sense of beforehand we were seeing their ability to cook be tested and maybe gather ingredients here and there, things like that. But in this whole test was you're surprised. You have the responsibilities of an adult who is expected to come up with a recipe by a deadline and then expected to deal with whatever unforeseen consequences might come up because of your choice and still succeed. And seeing that ingenuity, I did not expect him to use live action cooking as his answer to the problem. And it was really cool. I really liked what they did.
Actually, I actually like this one too because it was right off the back of the arc of the Camp from Hell. It's kind of their final challenge, and we don't know it as yet, but it gave a real sense of urgency because he only had 30 minutes left by the time he was like, okay, I'm going to put this plan into action, and everyone was like, you're not serving 190 plates in half an hour. It's just not going to happen. And so like you're watching him go against the clock, you're watching him try to put on a show, and it's interesting because the Doma or Dojima and his crony are like talking about how every time he does a line of pans, he gets just a bit faster. Mm-hmm. He's correcting his critique or his technique on the fly. He's finding tiny shortcuts to get that next plate out as fast as possible. And that was cool to watch, that kind of character building of Soma in that moment of intense, like, you're almost out of time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's also an interesting thing they do because, like, where Arena is excelling at this challenge and is blowing everyone away, I mean, he basically comes in last here, but with a huge handicap. So we, the audience, are like, yeah, he nailed it. Well, Arena especially, but a few of the judges are like, yeah, he barely made it through that. Is he really as good as we all think he is? Because it's kind of almost a loss for him.
Right.
And like I said, I like this season as the season where he gets his butt kicked. I mean, he just came off a loss and then has this huge setback and a huge failure. Yeah, they talk about it and it comes back up later. Arina's like, yeah, you failed today. And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to learn from my failure. She's like, you don't learn from failure. You're a loser.
Wow.
I mean, that's basically what she tells him, right?
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's exactly what she says. I'm just astonished. Like, it's amazing.
It's also nice that this comes back up later, which we will get to. I even forgot that happened, and when it does happen, and like we talked about with her character arc, it's a nice moment. Mm-hmm. After they get through this, and I think a few more other stuff, they get invited back for another announcement, and they're told, okay, one last challenge, you have to eat our food. And all the alumni cook for them, and it's the best food ever because these are literally the top chefs. We find out the guy the Shokugeki guy they went up against, I forget his name now, pink hair, king of beans, a wizard of beans,
Lagoon magician,
former number one of Tatsuki. He was top tier.
We find out that Dojima was also number one.
Dojima was also a number one, which we're going to get the next arc.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Meaning someone beat someone. Well, you find out in that hall, you see both their faces up there. So you're like, oh, someone beat someone.
That's true. I wish I still had my my name on the YouTube video because there was a sexy man there. As they leave to go back to the school, things happen. Soma and Erina end up both missing the bus. He forgets his scarf. She forgets her book with a picture of her mentor. And they have to share a car ride back to the school. I love their interactions together. I get a huge kick out of it. There's a reason I ship these two. And just he's trying to like just be casual and be cool. He barely cares, and she is so frustrated and so annoyed. I love because she has that, high, I'm the best. Watching him easily get under her skin is pretty satisfying.
Yep. In the end, his decision is just to sleep the rest of the way, and even that is offensive. Yep.
But yeah, we see the picture in her book, which is a picture of Soma's father, Joichiro, her mentor. Is literally his father, and she doesn't know that. That's another thing I love.
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting that he comes up because, hey, he shows up in Japan to see his son, and right around the same time, Soma is arriving back at the Polar Star dormitory with all his friends. His father's there to visit, and we learn a lot about his father in this next episode. He cooks for all the Polar Star students, and we figure out he made Polar Star dormitory. Like literally, his cooking and Dojima's cooking are completely responsible for everything this dormitory has. Dojima was number one, and Joichiro was number two. Let's talk about Joichiro because I really liked what they did with these two episodes.
I actually was still into the story at this point. I really liked that. Not only did he go to the school, but he was really great, but that he didn't graduate.
He didn't graduate.
Which I think is hilarious. But also like all the backstory stuff where it's younger him interacting is so great because he's just so cavalier, but yet so indifferent. And that's kind of how Soma is most of the time, is that indifference. He cares about people and he wants people to succeed, but he just, when it comes to, people coming at him, he's just indifferent to it. But he immediately, soon as someone walks in the door, he's like, we're food battling.
He treats it so casually too. He's like, hey, go grab your apron and your knives. We're going to make something. Okay, Dad, wait a minute. Why are you here?
Yeah. Yep.
Jeremy, your thoughts on the dad?
I thought the character was great. I think that he's got that same sort of attitude as Soma. I also wonder how much of it is aloofness and how much of it is him actually trying to present circumstances intelligently while seeming like he's not responsible for them. For instance, there's a point later where he tells Soma, or he leaves a message with him, go seek out the help from this other alumni. I always used to look after her. She'll look after you, I'm sure. This is a deliberate trap. Either that or he is so aloof as to think that what he was doing was totally okay and she loved him for it, which I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
Could see it either way, couldn't you?
I can totally see him being he's traveled the world. He's incredibly experienced, both as a chef and as a human being. The things that he must have seen and the places that he's been. So for him to still be that aloof about his own behavior and his own relationships with people, I find hard to believe. So I kind of want to give him the benefit of the doubt as someone who is trying to manipulate things to appear a certain way and yet get his son in certain circumstances to become better than him for whatever his own personal reasons might be. So I really like this character. He's kind of an enigma to me at this moment.
Right. On purpose, right? Even Soma admits, I know nothing about my dad. Like, I talked to him all night about his school life, and I still know nothing about this man. I really like this part where they tie Soma into the school. It wasn't just, hey, go to this random school. I heard it's good. Mm-hmm. It's I have a history here, and that dormitory you're in is the one I built. You're even in my room. Like, it creates this emotional connection to the school that wasn't formerly there.
I was staying on the floor when I was cooking.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna say I did think it was really weird how there were different things that changed the way his dad would behave. So, for instance, Soma asked him, why don't you come sleep in my room? And he's like, all right, sure. He'd agreed. And then he said, what room number? And when he found out it was his old room, he changed his mind and didn't want to go there. That seems to imply to me that isn't a place he wants to be, or that he wants his son to follow in his footsteps and no one ever stayed in his room. I don't know what exactly it means, but it was just a strange 180 pivot.
It was an odd scene, and it felt significant without being overt. I'm not sure, but it didn't seem that there was a payoff this season for it.
Yeah, I liked it, though. That's the weird thing. So I was like, oh, you're telling me something.
The lore of Dojima and Joichiro and other top 10 members from that time is definitely tied into the overall lore of Food Wars. I can say that.
Which is so weird. I mean, we're talking about this like this lore matters, but they're just cooks. And I say that as like they're not battling to save the planet.
You obviously misunderstand that this school basically controls the food world.
Apparently.
Okay. I do have a question for you, because I'll just say I love Joichiro. He's awesome. But he's number 2, or was number 2 at his time at the school. But Fumio, specifically his old friend, calls out he used to lose a few times on purpose. And when he did Shokugekis, he would get a bee in his bonnet to make something disgusting and would just lose. Do you think he would have been number 1? And I honestly don't know. There's nothing I've read or seen that would answer this. So I'm just asking you guys what you...
I didn't get the impression that he lost on purpose, and I can see how you might have gotten that impression. The impression I got was that he was so nonchalant about it at the time that he would just come up with a recipe on the spot. I never got the impression that it was a recipe that he was testing out how disgusting his food was, at least from the flashbacks. So I'm not sure.
I guess I assume based on the fact they had the purple miasma around it, just like his other what they call the outlier meals.
Yeah,
I like that they get names.
Yeah. I missed the purple miasma on the flashback ones, but at least for the Shokugeki ones. But if it was there, that makes perfect sense.
Well, that's one of the main reasons June hated him, was because he would force feed her these terrible meals.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he would have been number 1. Because I honestly think Dojima at that time may have been a better cook, and thus why the guy with glasses that went to win the French award ended up number one because he ended up being the best out of all of them.
Well, no, the different class.
Different generation.
Class. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were the same generation because
Dojima is his senpai. Like, I don't know if they went to Polar Star together. I don't know if he's like 1 year less, but
well, in his flashback, I thought Dojima was in that group when he was saying goodbye. He was going to go to France and do amazing things. That flashback.
I'm pretty sure Dojima graduated number one.
Okay,
and so I think he's got to be maybe just his senior.
I thought they went to the same during the same time.
Yeah, I'm really confused because I remember him walking away when they were. I thought it was when they were graduating, but I wonder if he just didn't graduate as well. Or do you have to graduate to be an alumni? No, because his dad was called an alumni and he didn't.
But also, don't forget, this guy literally works for Totsuki. Like, he didn't even leave after he could have been around. So, I don't know actually. That hasn't been fully explored. I just noticed that Dojima was called number one. This guy was called number one. I assumed that they were different years, but maybe I'm wrong.
To be honest, I do think to your initial question, I do think he could have beat him if he had prepared, if he had really thought about it instead of just making something on the fly. Mm-hmm. I don't think he took it seriously enough in whatever Shokugekis that he lost. I bet you he probably could have won if he'd taken it more seriously.
Okay, you're right. So Dojima was in the 69th generation of the Totsuki Academy. Kojiro was in the 79th. So he's 10 years younger.
Jeez.
So just like Dojima's looking over Soma now and this young generation, he was looking out for them now. He's literally just stayed at Totsuki and
helped out.
Been this guiding hand, yeah.
So that means Dojima's like 38 years old, something like that.
Which makes sense because Joichiro has a high school age son. He's got to have a little age on him.
Right.
I guess the only thing I'll add to that, I think Joichiro got better after he left Totsuki because he world traveled, and that's where a lot of his skills have come from since. They mentioned that, like, oh man, you can taste the world cuisine, which comes up again in the next episode where he wakes up his son first thing in the morning and he says, "Come have a food battle with me." And
6 a.m.
They have to make a breakfast. They have to do it for Fumio, the head of the dormitory. Ishiki, man, I love Ishiki this season. The best guys. The end of this season when he goes to his third form and he rips off the apron from his naked body, but he still has a Speedo on. They're like, "Oh, it's his third form."
It's his third form. Oh, God, this stupid. Character only had clothes, like full clothes, on in one scene. The rest of the time, he was always mostly nude.
And what's great is how used to it all the regular characters are, but as soon as new characters see it, they're like, "What is happening? Why is no one caring about this?"
Yep. Or sometimes you'll have like certain characters, like sometimes the girl characters will say, like when Joichiro showed up, they're like, "Why doesn't he care? He really was one of the top 10 seats. There's no other way he could handle this." They revere them so much. But yeah, no, it's great.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned the girls because they were like so fawning over Joichiro, and then all of a sudden they turn to Soma. They're like, "Wait a second, that's his son."
Yes. Is he gonna grow up to be just like that?
As a fully straight man, Joichiro is very hot. I really chose his picture for my YouTube thing because he's like just got that wavy, smoldering hair.
YouTube says you know Troy.
No, we lost our monetization. Oh no.
Yeah.
The food battle they have, like I said, it's Megumi, Ishiki, and Fumio. They have to have the theme is an energizing, easygoing breakfast. Okay. So it has to be for someone who's been up all night or an old lady who can't handle a hearty breakfast. Soma makes a apple risotto, which everyone.
Sorry to cut you off, but it was really funny to watch Megumi just literally sleepwalk into the kitchen. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna be a judge." She's like, and all of a sudden she wakes up. She's like, "What am I doing?"
And then Joichiro he makes a ramen, and everyone's like, "Whoa, why would you make a ramen? That's way too hearty. That's not what we asked for." And then they try it, and it's actually a vegetarian ramen with super rare roots that he got from his world travels, and it's perfect. And he blows Soma out of the water. He wins 3-0, and Soma loses again for the second time this season, or this half of the season.
His 490th loss.
Yep.
And then they both start writing it down, and Megumi's like, wait a second, they write every single one of these down.
The best is how they introduce this when they're like, how many times have you lost? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, it's like 500. It's 499.
490, yeah. Yep.
And then they pull out their notebook. So he knows they know. Like, the ribbing at the beginning was pretty nice, and how that brought it back. And then, so Joichiro is like, okay, well, don't lose again till I get back. And this is inspiring for Soma, and a couple characters call that out, that he's really there to give him that pump up and just see how far he'd come. And he has come a long way. And then he gives them this message that, hey, air out the restaurant sometimes during the vacation.
And Troy's favorite episode arcs.
I don't even really want to talk about it that much. To me, this is a filler arc. I don't know for sure. We don't read mangas of the animes we watch because
there was very little building. There was very little world building, character story.
There's a lot of great stuff with Ikumi in this. A lot of great comedy beats with Ikumi. I really liked that her character was here, that she was the character chosen to go along with this filler. But the rest of it was really boring.
What about Soma's middle school friend?
Who is basically Megumi, and was replaced by Megumi when Megumi came into the story, and now came back. But she has all the same characteristics. Okay, so real quick, these two episodes are about a fried chicken battle. Karage.
Yeah.
And the fast food down at the mall is stealing all the customers from where their diner used to be, the shopping district. So Soma enters a battle with them and comes up with a wrap.
Yeah, the chicken's not as good, but because it's like portable and the college kids have to.
The thing about the fast food is like you order it to go and you have to take it home and you have to re-microwave it and reheat it, and then it's not as good. He's serving it fresh and portable so you can eat it on the street straight out of the roll. That's the gist of this arc. I really there was no stakes there, and it ends up introducing another of the elite top 10, but
so actually there was a lot of holes that I saw with this. This was my favorite storytelling of the last half of the season.
It's so weird.
Just well, I liked it because I liked the interaction, because I ship Soma and Ikumi.
The phone call when he calls her, that might be one of the best moments of the season.
Right. No, I can get. I mean, I'm super busy, way too busy, but I can probably find time. So you're not coming? No, I'm coming.
The fact that there's like heart, he's inviting her over to his house alone, and she's got hearts behind her. Like she's into this, like a lot.
Very clear.
And then to get,
but she's constantly denying it.
Yes.
Yep. No, so I like the interaction between the two. I like the relationship building that they did in this particular arc. But it left way too many holes. Like, okay, now that Selma's going back to school, what happens to the shopping district? Is it just going to dry up? Is someone else going to be doing the fried chicken? Are they going to do it as good as Soma?
They called that out.
No. I know the two. Well, she was going to do it part time, and then you had the lunchbox guy that was going to be doing it. But
right, and they were doing it from his place too. So he doesn't
supplies. He doesn't do fried stuff. He doesn't do hot stuff, and
he has to follow the recipe at this point.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
as long as he's following the recipe, I guess. Yeah, and then they just kind of drop it. They're just like, "Oh, okay, shopping district's healed, hooray!"
It's classic filler where you have to introduce new stakes, but at the end of the filler arc, nothing can have changed for any of the characters.
Right.
And I don't see the point of it. Like I said, I don't know if it's actually true filler, but it sure feels like filler to me.
I think it was an excuse to have a relationship building between Soma and Ikumi.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I also think and maybe this is just me, but I actually really liked being able to see this other character that we just saw in the first episode, and after that she was gone, and I never thought about her again. But seeing her be developed, even though she was remarkably like Megumi, so is June. Like they don't really show a lot of shame when it comes to reusing archetypes. So, and I'm well saying that, I'm happy to also point out that a lot of the different children, well, young adults that are at the school, are very unique in their cooking approach and in some of their personalities. But I don't know, seeing that she was similar to Megumi didn't turn me off at all. It was very interesting to watch, especially seeing the behavior between her and Ikumi. Right? It's Ikumi, right?
Ikumi,
yeah.
yeah.
Ikumi. Yeah.
Or meat meat.
Or Nikumi or meat meat.
Meat, yeah. Seeing
Stop calling me that.
Yeah, the way that the two of them would interact whenever there was a moment where they were alone or anything like that, it was good. So, I don't know, it didn't bother me at all when they did this. It was an okay story arc for me, because I think in the end, this was something where, as far as Soma was concerned, there were stakes. You know, this was his shopping district. He didn't want it to dry up. Plus, that's where the shop is, and he intends to go back to that diner at this point in time.
That's his legacy.
Yeah, so if he has to go back to that place and it's all dried up, that's going to be horrible.
Yeah, no customers.
Yeah, no customers. He's going to have to start from scratch then. But it was also, I actually got a kick out of the lady, the Yakuza lady that was
the manager of what is it called?
Basically McDonald's.
Moizuya.
Yeah, McDonald's. She was really entertaining because she was clearly psychotic, and that was really nice to see that in this show, where for the most part, even though people might be eccentric, they never cross the line into psychotic, except for maybe this one character we'll meet soon. But this lady was completely psychotic, so it was great. I actually really enjoyed the Karage arc.
Okay, I gotta take us on a quick tangent. Okay. Guys. You can ship Ikumi and Soma all you want. This anime has already told us Soma and Erina belong together. They will be together. This will happen.
Are you spoiling, or are you?
I'm not spoiling. There's nothing that I even know plot wise where it has come together. But in the first 3 episodes, Soma's father says, find someone to cook for that you love. That's how you excel your cooking. And the next thing we see is Erina walking. It is clearly telling us Erina is the girl for you. You need to fall in love with her and cook for her, and your cooking
could be writing misdirection.
Megumi may be best girl, Ikumi may be hot as bae, but Erina is the chosen one, guys. You need to accept it.
Who did he call when he needed help? who did he food battle into the club that he wanted to save?
From the other point of view, Erina, the only thing she ever thinks about is Soma.
That's true, even though it is mostly negative. She is always thinking about him.
He is always in her mind. As soon as
why is there always hearts over Ikumi when Soma comes around?
Ikumi loves Soma. I'm not disputing that.
Oh,
but the chosen one of the relationship, a relation is. And I feel that for the writers have decided Erina and Soma are.
I don't buy it.
Okay. When it happens, I will gloat gleefully in your face.
Well, since it hasn't, I will stick by my prediction.
Or has it? Because I don't want to spoil anything.
I have to say that, sadly, from the evidence, I would have to agree with Troy. But
no, I do too, but I'm rejecting it anyways.
Okay, guys, every time we do this podcast, and even when we're not doing the podcast, anytime someone agrees with me, it comes with this qualifier of, look, I really hate saying this, and I feel nauseous, and I want to hurt myself, but I agree with Troy. What is that?
I'm not used to emotions, man. And I know to agree with you, it must be emotions.
Listen, look, it's purely personal. I mean, it's nothing personal.
Gosh, the only other thing that comes out of this is we meet that other top 10 who is a consultant for that business he went up against. He got fired halfway through, which is one of the reasons they lost, but he considers this an affront to him, and he wants revenge. And this is Eisen, who is known as the alchemist, and he says he doesn't care about cooking. He's about food business.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're in the top 10 if you can't cook.
Well, obviously he can because he's higher than Erina.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just barely, but he's there. When I heard 9th, I was like, what does he even matter? We know Ichiki is the 7th. I don't even care about anybody below that. I don't know who the 3rd is.
He's obviously being set up as a pseudo bad guy here, and I thought he was really lame as a bad guy.
Okay.
I thought he fit the shonen bill for an early villain.
That's fair. Maybe he's a Piccolo.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Although,
really hate to say this, and it hurts my genitalia really bad, but I agree with Jason on this. Yeah,
you know what, Sweet?
Guys.
last episode that we did, I kept calling I kept calling parallels to DBZ with these characters, and Troy's like, "Yep, that fits. Yep, that fits."
Yep. Dang it.
Because he's in the background for like the rest of this, but I don't feel like he's gonna. Eventually, he's got to matter, but I just don't feel like he does. So the autumn elections are showing. We actually get a cool scene of the top 10 meeting, and we only get to see the 3 we already know. But Erina's like, "Yeah, so much should not be in this," and he's like, "He clearly should. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why do you care so much? I don't care. You care. Shut up."
Shut up.
This is why I think that they did some really good writing through a lot of this show, both seasons. The interactions between the characters and the behaviors, the dialogue that they have is really believable. Thinking of their ages and their behaviors, like especially with Erina and how, he just calls her out on it, and she's got nothing she can say back. She doesn't go on this crazy monologue to try and justify her position or anything. She just gets blushy and is like,
"I'm not stupid, you're stupid."
Yeah. I'm like, that's a real person.
I do have a question about that meeting. Was it that they were hiding the other members, or is there only 3 or 4 of them?
They're hiding them.
Okay.
So in season 3, all 10 members have been revealed.
Okay.
And their personalities and how they factor into the story. But yeah, they're definitely they're keeping that a secret.
I would actually have preferred that twist you presented just now. That would have been really cool if secretly there's only 3. And they're like, we don't even claim the first 3 spots because we're not that good.
Well, I was wondering if there was like some sort of tiering system where, depending on how good you were, it would place you automatically.
You don't have to bother.
Well, no, like if a new, if the current 10 like leave the school to go, like, they graduate. And like you show that your cooking skill gets you to a particular level, they're like, "Okay, we're going to offer you like the number 9 seat. We know you're not an 8 or a 7, but you definitely are the 9th."
That's interesting.
Because they put so much emphasis on this last arc and how you could possibly become one of the 10 from this battle that we're going to get into. I was wondering, are all the other seats empty and they haven't met the standards yet? Like, but
it's better that they sit vacant than have someone who doesn't. Fill them right.
So the autumn elections then officially start. The groups are announced and who's in them. They were put into 2 separate groups. Basically, every first year from Polar Star gets put in. I didn't realize the 2 guys were not first years, but apparently they are second years because they are not part of this. So that was interesting. But they all get in, and then we get a bunch of new characters introduced, and then a bunch of the old characters are also factored in, and they find out that the theme is going to be curry.
Wait a second. I'm sorry, I got to cut you off though. Are you talking about the 2 guys that really have no character development except that they're the same? When I was looking on Wikipedia for the names of Alice and Rio, because I couldn't remember, I ran across just a couple sentences about them, and it said that they survived the camp, which would imply that they were first years. But I don't recall. Did we see them at the camp?
Oh, were they just not good enough to get in? I thought they were first years. You're right, but though they were at the camp, because didn't they want to party with everyone?
Yeah, you're right. That's right. I do remember seeing them because they were coming in with cards, which means so they just weren't as good as the rest.
They are just the lousiest cooks in Polar Star.
Polar Star. There we go.
The party guys. I mean, they have some good moments in the tournament, character-wise, but that's really interesting. Okay, so everyone but those two guys from Polar Star gets in. And then, of course, Ishiki can't, and Arina also can't because she's in the top 10, so she's automatically not. But her secretary gets in, and they announce that they're going to make curry. And everyone's like, well, isn't that just a really mundane? And they start talking about spices. And that's when someone's like, okay, I'm going to go talk to that teacher my dad recommended about spices.
I laughed out loud during this whole thing.
It was great.
So we meet her. Her name is Shiomi, and she is this young, tiny little woman who looks like a middle schooler. But she's actually a teacher there now, and she used to go to school with his dad, and she hates his dad. His dad used to torture her. The greatest when he's like, man, my dad used to torture his underclassmen. And then behind him, Megumi's like, you torture me.
Yes.
No, doesn't he say Yukihara and she just...
Yep.
Yeah, she just jacks him.
Well, no, he doesn't say Yukihara because his name was changed to Yukihara. That's not.
He says that's right.
He says the real name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, don't you know my dad, Jurichio?
Yep. And this is where we meet her assistant, who comes in to kind of play peacemaker between these two groups. And his name is Hayama. He is an Indian boy who has a nose for spice, and it excels his cooking to new levels. And he has been the assistant of this Shiomi, who is a cutting edge of spices in the food industry. And he's taking her science and applying it to food. So, when I say he's top tier, he is top tier. And he explained, he gives this big lesson on how spices work. He makes 3 meals with the same spices prepared in different ways, and they have 3, eccentric tastes. And this becomes Soma's new rival. Just instantly, oh, hey, you, me, rivals. We're doing this.
So he's from India, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they did. In one of the end credit scenes, they show him meeting her in India. She's trying to buy spices from a guy in the market, and the market's guy trying to rip her off. And this little boy walks up and is like, "Nope, those are bad spices. You don't, they're cut with bad stuff, so you don't want to buy them."
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of raised him since then, so they take care of each other, and you kind of get the sense that the power is more on his foot. He yells at her for not watering the plants and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
So we should talk about Hayama because he is an important character. What did you guys think of him?
I wish we would have met him a lot earlier. I thought he was a decent rival. But as we were talking about earlier, I think this show has a problem with who's my rival at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets muddy, and I don't like that about the show. But this character, I thought he was interesting. I liked his approach to not just cooking, but what did his title end up being? The master of scents or smells or
fragrance something. Or something like that.
Yeah, the prince of fragrance or something like that. God, those are getting irritating. But what do you think, Jeremy?
Strongly disagree.
So, the first time that I saw this character, which was in the early part of this week, he was holding what looked like a cigarette, but if you look at it, the end is swirly. It's obviously curled, and it's a piece of cinnamon. It's a cinnamon stick wrapped in white paper, and so I even sent a quick snapshot of that to Troy and Jason. I'm like, is that cinnamon? That looks like cinnamon. So I've been watching this character, and of course he's in the intro scene as well. And so I've been really curious. And when they finally showed him, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I mean, he looks like he kicks some serious butt in that intro video where he's got the stirring spoon covered in spice, and
it's a lightsaber of spice, guys.
A lightsaber of spice. That's so great.
Good.
Oh my God. So, I'd been really looking forward to this character, and I think he lived up to it, because there was a sort of there's a self-awareness that this character has where he knows his strengths, he knows his abilities. He's a little bit overconfident when facing Soma and other people because this is his strongest suit. Curry, you couldn't have picked a better dish for him, and he knows it. So he's going into this a little bit cocky, but they did a really good job giving you that sensation that when things unfold the way that they do, and I don't want to spoil it yet because it's fun to just talk about it in line once we get there. He knows what happened, and Soma knows what happened. And this isn't exactly the same as what we had with the Italian brothers or anybody else that we've had as rivals so far. With most of them, they're just noisy loudmouths in one way or another, right? But this guy, he's got this intelligent self-awareness where he gets it, he keeps it to himself, and you can tell he's just mulling it over and he's planning out his next steps. And so I can really respect this guy because he seems to be far more brutally intelligent than the other characters that I've seen.
So while I stand by what I said at the beginning, there's too many rivals set up. And I do think in season 3, the reason comes through what they've been doing the past 2 seasons. But with this character, especially, it's something that My Hero Academia does as well. I'm rooting for the hero to win, but you're creating side characters and rivals that are so interesting that I'm sad for them if they lose, and I'm happy for them if they win. They have legitimate good reasons to want to be the best. He is fighting for this professor who has been looked down upon by the rest of the committee for her wacky spice theories, right? And he's like, I'm going to take your science. I'm going to prove to the world it's right. And that's why I need to be the best. It isn't for himself. He is cooking for someone else. Something someone needs to do. That's what his father said, right?
Yeah, nice catch.
And actually, yeah, that kind of comes out during the competition as well. When she's like, you need to come work for me.
Right. Yeah. I really like Hayama for that reason. He is not an evil villain, whereas I think like Rio is the chaotic evil character who's coming in with whacking lobsters with mallets. Hayama is like this white knight coming in. He's a good guy that you want to win just as much as you want someone to win. That creates a little bit more of intensity when they do battle.
Yeah.
So after learning this, summer vacation starts. All the contestants separate and go their own ways and try to figure out what they're going to do for their dish. Guys, I absolutely love what they did with the Aldini brothers. I love that the fat one got skinny.
Cool. Yeah.
It's so funny. In the summer, he just sweats all the fat off, and he's probably the best looking character in the entire.
Someone's like, hey, look, we got a new kid.
Yeah. Yep. And the fact that his eyes are now open and they're like this sparkling green.
Yeah. Yep. I thought the same thing. And all in 1 month. That's amazing.
Yep. Basically, Selma spends the time just studying spices because they talk about all the different science of spices, which is really cool. And he's way behind in learning this stuff, so he's got to figure something out.
Right, because Takumi goes home, and he stays behind because he doesn't want to ride his brother's coattails.
Right. And he wants to beat his brother too. That's a big thing to prove his worth. Eventually, everybody comes back, and they separate into the group A and the group B, and they start their cooking. We basically finish the episode with the judges observing on their cooking, but there's nothing really special to call out unless you guys can think of something. We have the Queens of Curry, twin sisters, one in each group.
Jeremy.
They were the worst characters in the entire season. The two of them.
They were literally just bodacious babes.
Yes.
To show the foodgasms through.
Exactly. Like that was their sole reason to exist there.
However, the best scene is when the judges start arguing and they turn to the fifth guy and they say, "You're an extra. You don't even matter."
Yes. Yes, that was great.
That was pretty awesome self-awareness.
Yeah, it was. I do have to say the twin sister that was not handing out points in Arena A.
Yeah.
I got to take it back a little bit. She did have a reason to exist because once she started giving out points, That was hysterical. Just her reaction to every dish that was just hitting her like a machine gun of
She wanted it to
deliciousness.
stop. Like, I'm still recovering from the last dish. Don't give me another good one.
So that was funny. That one
And also,
was really
she's
good.
the one who wants to buy people. She's like, I will buy all of them. And Shiki, she's been trying to buy, is like, maybe you should just eat the food.
Yeah. Yep.
But we start off in Group B. Oh, Soma fell asleep cooking. That was how that episode ended. Then we go over to Group B. And it starts off with Megumi being bullied. There's a girl named Hyoko, who is the master of Chinese cooking, and she wanted to respect Megumi because she had won that Shokugeki, which she didn't, but she thinks she did. And then she's like, "Oh, you just have the man help you."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh man, where is this going?"
I know. I saw this character so disingenuous and just a prop. She could, and what was disappointing is she could have been so much more. I found her character and her backstory interesting. I didn't like the fact that she was just, rah women's power, and then, oh, well, you can't cook for yourself. It felt very disingenuous, and I was hoping for more from this character.
It gave a rival to Megumi that I think she needed for this.
Megumi didn't need a rival because she fights herself. That's her character arc.
Okay.
Megumi may not have noticed, but I think it gave this character some development, and I don't see her leaving the picture anytime soon. After this.
Anyway, the point of what I was pointing out is Megumi pulls out a giant monkfish, and we find out that she had got the fisherman in her village to teach her how to butcher a monkfish because the old chef who used to do it for her family's inn got too old, and it used to be a performance piece, and so she learned it, and like it was brutal to learn how to do it, but she stayed with it, and she actually knows how to butcher this, and she butchers it perfectly on stage in front of everybody, which is pretty cool. And then people start presenting. Now, so set it up. There's 5 judges, 20 points possible each, so you can get a maximum score of 100. And kids are getting 30s and 40s, and their lives are being ruined left and right. Blah, blah, blah.
Real quick, though, I thought one thing I expected from the Megumi's monkfish thing, I thought it was going to be similar to Ikumi, where she cut out a slab. Megumi didn't just cut out a slab. She cleaned this entire thing, and it's almost as big as a tuna. Like, this thing is bigger than she is.
And she had so many parts from it on that tray when she pulls it away. Like, she's got the mouth still. And
it's perfectly deboned and just completely parted out. And so that was a surprise, because I thought she was just going to cut a fillet out of it, and I thought that was like difficult to cut a fillet from it. But to find out that she actually completely parted it out, that was fairly impressive to watch.
How long did they have to make these dishes?
3 hours.
3 hours. Okay, 3 hours. How much of that time did she have to spend gutting that fish? It must have been at least like an hour, 40 minutes.
Look, the 5-minute dish that Soma made in episode 1, I took 2 hours to make, so I can't even imagine.
And also, if she's been doing this for performance, I could see her doing it in 20-25 minutes.
20-25? I suppose so.
It's really hard to recap this, because basically what it is each character in this group comes up, presents, and gets their points, and then we kind of get like an explanation of their cooking style, and this is like the first time, especially for the Polar Star students, we're really getting to see more of their personality and get someone caring about them.
Yeah, this is actually the part I was talking about when I said it was nice to see some of the other characters shine.
Definitely, but it felt like a bunch of Krillin arcs.
Okay, so let's talk about that now, because you had called out that there's not a lot of danger.
Stakes. And you mentioned that if you get a low score, it could ruin your career, even though you're not kicked out of the school, but there's so many food critics there, like no one's going to hire you if you come out for the terrible dish.
But I will say this is standard shonen fare. There is always a tournament. And the reason they do that is to get power level testing without stakes. There's a first season of Dragon Ball. Goku and Krillin and Master Roshi go to a tournament. So we can realize that while Goku's gotten really strong, Master Roshi is still slightly stronger than him. Spoiler for season 1 of Dragon Ball. Sorry.
How dare you? Too soon?
And there's been a couple exceptions, but My Hero Academia just had a big tournament arc. None of the heroes could kill each other, but we still got to see, okay, what happens when this character versus this character. And it's just, it's to show these characters and their powers, so later when there are stakes, we don't have to take the time to explain how Neo cooks or how Hisako cooks. We do it now in a tournament format that is standard shonen fare. I agree with you that it's not. I complain to you guys all the time about tournaments. It is one of the worst shonen tropes, but it does serve a purpose.
I understand it serves a purpose, but at
It's
least
not interesting.
because it's not two characters actually battling, actually trying to land blows. It does come down to the flair of the judges, and unfortunately, I didn't find any of the judges to be interesting.
Okay, I think it's fair.
I don't know though. What about like in the Shokugekis? Were we interested in any of those judges?
Before the tournament?
Mm-hmm. Like
at the end of the last half, the alumni Shokugeki, I thought they were.
Yeah, I
cared more about those characters as judges.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I do kind of see Jason's point. I
don't know. I kind of see it, but at the same time, I don't know. I saw it as just a way to showcase the abilities of these characters, like you're saying, and I actually really just enjoyed it for that purpose. Like if they hadn't done that, I would have been I think I would have wondered, well, what is so special about this character? They're nothing but personalities for me at that point. And so I don't know if I would have enjoyed the cast broadening out the way that it did.
Because I really enjoyed the blonde-haired girl from, or no, not blonde-haired, Yuki's. I really enjoyed Yuki's dish.
Oh, her duck?
And,
Duck. Yeah.
And her presentation. And I did like Ryoko's.
Here's what I want to do, and I can tell you're doing it right now. I wanted you guys to look at the show notes because I don't want to recap each one of these one by one. Mm-hmm. The only one that really matters is Megumi's at the end, which I want to talk about. But you can see in Group B, here's all the characters who went before Megumi, and which ones do you guys want to call out and comment on?
See, and that's the big problem that I have with the tournament is it didn't matter because this was. It didn't matter. We're developing power levels, and we're going to show how. I haven't even seen the end of the tournament, and I know somehow Soma's going to pull it through. He's going to be tenacious, and he's going to do his magic, whatever.
But isn't that just shonen though? Like Goku's going to win. Like
absolutely, but at least
it doesn't mean it's not worth calling out. I agree with Jason. In the scope of these 12 episodes, especially in the scope of these 12 episodes, this doesn't matter. I do think for the overall lore of Food Wars and the world building, this is something we have to go through for the shonen trope, but it's still my least favorite trope of shonen.
Yeah.
My Hero Academia is the only one that I've really enjoyed.
Because what's interesting though is that like with Hisako's, with Ryoku's, with Yuki's, even Mikumi's, they spent a little more time with the prep part in the kitchen during the battle. As we progressed into the story, you could feel the clock ticking of the episodes coming to a close, and they started speeding it up.
Yeah, I think Food Wars is just moving away from the cooking part. It's like we can only show you stirring onions so many times before you get bored of it. So now they're trying to more focus on that, like I said, the presentation.
Right.
So let's call out from Group B, guys, your highlights. Mine definitely would be Neo and Hisako. Hisako feeding Neo the herbal medicine. That was funny. Neo makes the gross one. She's the one from the ending theme. And she makes slimy, but they're still delicious and smelly. And then Hisako gives her medicinal herb curry, and he heals all the judges. And then she gives it to Neo, and it turns her into
white Neo.
How do you say, guys? It made her white, and then I know what you mean, but you can't say that out loud.
No.
Right?
It turned her from evil to good. It turned her from witch to
And then at the ending theme of that episode, they're not in the black curry anymore at the end. They're in the white perfect curry, and she's the pretty Nao. Also, the fact that Nao now is obsessed with Hisako.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was pretty great. Yeah, the only one I would call out from Group B again would be Yuki. I liked that presentation.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked the Italian dishes, like just the way that they were prepared and how different they were, and that's curry. That was really fascinating.
Noodle curry sounded weird. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything they've made sounds weird.
Yeah.
Spongy souffle eggs.
I can get behind that, but like, and I could even get behind the covered curry, like the pastry curry.
Yeah.
But noodle curry, I mean, I don't know.
Well, and when I heard Nao's nasty dish being called out, I recognized it from some of the shows that I've seen in the past that have gone into the fermentation techniques and how these, these fish that you leave dead for a really long time, and other things like that. It's just this horrible smells and flavors. I actually, I remember watching, I don't remember what show it was, but I watched the guy eat it, and he was trying so hard not to gag. It was so funny. So as soon as they called that out, I was like, she didn't. Oh, she didn't. Oh.
That's so funny. In your notes, you've got like Aldini Brothers, Italian, Hisako, medicine. Now, gross.
Nope. Alice is here too, and Alice makes some pretty weird cool curry.
Alice is here. I want to call it the Aldini Brothers though, especially Isami's moment where he pretends he gets a really high score, and then his older brother comes up, who he's always wanted to beat because he's always felt like the inferior chef, like he holds his brother back. His brother still beats him, and instead of being upset, he takes that moment just to be proud of his older brother. I really like that character beat. I really like that character. I mean, he's usually just a gag in the background of laughing at his overdramatic brother, and the fact that they gave him that character beat, I really appreciated.
I'd agree with that.
He became so much more complex. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you are right. Alice also presents.
Yep.
Her frozen spicy food,
which has like there is no bowl with anything in it. There's just a plate, and it's got little green juices smeared on it, and it's got like what looks like a piece of like lettuce or something curled up and over. And in the end, her dish was entirely about, you've got some spices and everything, but also the textures and the temperature that are going.
She flash froze stuff, and so it's like spicy ice cream.
Exactly, yeah. Well, and if you've ever had like those flash frozen fruits and things like that, they literally melt on your tongue. Like you put it in your mouth and it's just gone. So just a weird combo, something you wouldn't expect. And she was not happy she got 5 points off 100.
Right, she got the highest score ever. But yeah, she's upset she didn't get perfect. Yeah. And then Megumi goes up, who's the opposite. I liked how a lot of this cooking was like, I went, and then here's my opposite right after me. Whereas Alice is calculated and cold, literally and figuratively. And then up comes Megumi with her hot pot.
I love that everybody forgot about her and they started calculating up.
They're picking who wins, and she's like, I haven't got yet.
Yeah.
And then just the fisherman being there, and then everyone loving her food, and all the flashbacks of her like on the verge of failing and knowing how much she doubts herself, and then that moment of Shiki in the background being like, "This is your moment." We've all known what you were capable of, and now everyone else is going to get to see it, because so many people are even upset she's there. Like, why am I not there? She was
country bumpkin,
right?
Yeah,
failing.
And this got me, guys. This is the second time I've watched this. I knew what was going to happen, and I kept thinking about it. I'm like, wow, why do I care this much? I don't even like Megumi.
I think what's nice about her character is every single character in this shonen goes for, okay, this is the thing. I'm going to cook the best thing I can, or I'm going to like engineer this thing to make it taste amazing. And Megumi's all, I'm going to cook something I would want to eat. And I think that's what makes her endearing.
Well,
I'm gonna cook something good.
That's the whole theme of Food Wars, though. Really, it's elitism cooking versus common man cooking. You know, Soma is diner cooking. She is home cooking.
Yeah. What would mom make?
And even now, Dini Brothers, Rio, Hayama, these guys aren't the elites. The best are the ones who come from common backgrounds, and they're going up against the Alices, the Arinas, that are we're the best, we're the elites, you can't touch us, and that's what Food Wars is about. And you know, one of the reasons I love it so much.
Yeah, it's her sincerity. Megumi's just so sincere about her approach all the time. Yeah.
Group B, so the winners are Alice, Hisoko, Tamari?
Not Alice.
Yeah. No.
Oh, no, the winner. Yeah, winners, yeah.
Alice, Hisako, Dini brother.
Hisako got booted out.
No, not Hiyoko, Hisako. The secretary.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
She got second.
Yeah, similar names, man.
Yeah. And then Megumi gets fourth, so they will go into the actual tournament. So let's now go over to Group A, where one judge, the Curry Queen, is giving zeros to everybody. Like nothing is phasing her. And we start off with Rio, and we get to see his berserker rage, especially when he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you ate it. Hold on," and he puts on the bandana and goes crazy. He's like, "Now eat it like this."
Yeah, he has to like find the bandana. I loved that. He's like awkwardly checking his pockets. Where is it? Oh, here it is. And he puts it on so slow.
And it's acting like he's looking for the secret ingredient. The secret ingredient's right there next to him, and he needs the bandana, or else he can't present it to them with any care.
Yep, I like
to slurp the lobster brain out.
God, that was so gross. Oh,
but it had to be with cognac.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which wired? Never mind.
I guess they can cook with it. They're just not supposed to drink it, right?
So he gets 93 points, and then we're gonna do again Group A. Here's just kind of the extras that you can see on the list. Any ones you want to call out? For me, Ikumi. Going back to that old philosophy of the Dawn, it has to be a perfect bowl, and everything she learned from the first half of the season coming really through. Yeah, that was in this moment.
But I love it. What was great about that scene, though, is that she was hesitant about saying it. The complete meal has
balances.
Yep. Look, I do love Akumi. I want her to have her happy ending. It's just not going to.
And you know what her happy ending is?
Be with the Dawn.
Summer. No, it's with Summer.
It's going to be with the Dawn guy. You know it.
God. And I did like Ryoko's malt.
It was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And then I did like her. What was her title? What did her title end up being?
The Lima Bean Queen or something like that.
Soybean.
That's right. Yeah, the soy master.
Guys, there was so much boob bouncing in this episode.
A little too much.
Kumi jumps into a girl's face, and like her boobs are on the screen, just bouncing in this girl's face for like 10 straight seconds.
Yeah,
and it's like completely unnecessary.
Well, no, because you know which woman it was. It was the judge.
Right.
That's the whole reason it was happening is because the judge, like, that's her thing. And so having a Kumi jump in there and do that was like, in your face, judge, in your face, quite literally.
Then right after, they have Ryoko up on that platform where they're shaking her, and now she's bouncing.
And it looks close.
They literally just wrote boing, boing, boing.
Boing, boing, boing. I loved Marui's dish.
Yes.
It was so cool. I mean, everything in it was just pure white. He had a poached egg on it, and it really, like I said, it showcased his abilities. Because before this, like you said, you wondered, what is he? What good is he? Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have endurance, but he's got ability and he's got intelligence.
The fact that he's been, for the whole season, this joke of this kid who's being drugged behind the rest of these guys. He's always exhausted. He's barely making it. They pick on him. And then he comes out and he ties with the smoke guy, who we had all assumed was like the second best in the house. And and just the fact like this, we see his club and how much they revere him, and he's like, hey, I'm a mediocre chef, but I learned all the knowledge from the best, and I'm going to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about smoked salt for a second? What? You can smoke salt?
Well, if you burn seaweed and then distill out the salt again from the water you mix it in with, I guess. I never checked to see if that's a real thing, but I bet it is.
Like when they said that he smoked everything, I thought he meant everything that was smokable, but apparently so is salt.
Apparently.
I love that. They were like, wait, something's tying it together. It's smoked salt.
That was great.
To be fair, if you left just the phrase out, something's tying this together, that could be almost any food tasting in this anime.
Mango chutney.
We're not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so then Hayame goes and he lets off a fragrance bomb.
God, that was amazing. Oh my God. It was such a joke because like it was Soma that busted the top of it because of course Hayama
they made each other dishes.
They made each other
like,
dishes.
Hey, I want you to taste mine, man. Yeah, I want you to taste mine to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's kiss.
God. Oh, the show! I swear.
No, it took me back. It took me back to the first episode. Not so much the blatant
sexuality.
Sexualization, but just the ridiculousness of it. Because like when he opens it, like it looks like someone turned on like a fan, like an industrial fan on him, and like golden streaks of fragrance are flying past him and into the stadium, and like there's pulses of it. It's like, okay, we get it. It smells good.
It's his aura. It's his Dragon Ball Z aura. That's what it is. Everyone can feel him powering up. It's a spirit bomb.
Kaioken times fragrance.
Exactly.
He has the secret recipe of holy basil, which apparently is very rare in Japan, and it was because apparently it's a big deal.
Which he strikes at you as if he's holding a spear.
It wasn't so much that he used it; it was the quality of the holy basil, and
he used being able to subdue it.
No. Being able to obtain it was the big deal.
Yeah.
Well,
because apparently not only does it not grow in Japan very well, but that he was able to get such high quality and such amounts of it, and that was all due to June.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also the fact that it wasn't overwhelmed by the other ingredients, nor did it overwhelm the other ingredients. Like, I mean, that's just a natural part of cooking.
So he gets a 94, which puts him in the first place. It's important to note everyone from Group B now shows up. Like they're done. They run over. So someone's presenting.
I thought something horrible had happened because all of them come in and they're like panting and they're like, something terrible happened. You know, I think they even said that line. And I'm like, did the stadium blow up? Like, did My Hero Academia show up? And like, what's going on? I don't know. And then I'm like, nope, this just picked up exactly where it left off. They just were excited.
So in one of the best shonen moments, someone's like, here's my dish. I made an omelet. Hold on just a second. Let me open it. Fragrance bomb.
Yes.
He sets off his own fragrance bomb.
Take two, he says.
Yep. And he's like, you had the same idea as me. Like, yes, I did. They could be shooting energy blasts at each other right now and just be like, you had the same energy as me. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, the judges, as they eat this dish, are imagining them battle. Hayama has like the spear of holy basil, and Soma's coming in with flurry of combos and punches. And we see a quick fight.
So great. You finally get a fight in Food Wars. Yep.
I think my favorite part of that whole arc of Soma's cooking is him in front of the pot, passed out.
Right.
And like everyone's like, oh my God, he's asleep. And then like as soon as the fragrance hits his nose, he's like, he wakes up and he's like, perfect.
This is the time.
And he's like, yeah, sorry, man. I just didn't get enough sleep. You got balls of steel.
Exactly.
So inside the omelet is an apple risotto. And so he calls this his curry risotto omelet rice.
He just keeps like layering on whatever he made in the last competition.
Is this with the anthropomorphic apple, or was that with Megumi?
That was with Megumi.
That
That
was
was
Megumi.
Megumi with his dad.
I'm surprised we didn't call that out. Another
I loved
freaking
that.
flash, like
The Prince of Apples.
foodgasm of a freaking apple man. Anyways.
Tanya wants to see that part because I showed her the picture and she's like, I need the context. What is this?
No, Tanya, you don't.
Context
You
doesn't
don't
help.
need it.
It doesn't matter in Food Wars.
It's interesting you call that out though, because it is. They call this out. Irina, she notices this. She remember she told him, "You can't learn from your failures." He took his last two failures from this half of the season: the omelet that failed and the risotto that didn't beat his dad, and he combined them because he refuses to be a failure. He's like, "I will make these work."
Yeah. Not only did they make it work, but then he added curry ingredients to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And he gets a 93, so he's 1 point behind.
And then the judges start arguing.
Well, hold on. The crowd points out 3 of the 5 judges preferred his food, which means if it was a shokugeki, he would have won.
Right.
But because it's score based, he officially has lost. Even though he's in the top 4, so he's going to go.
This is what I meant, because you see it on Hayama's face. Hayama looks at the judges, he looks at the scores, and his face is not happy.
Right.
Which someone who won, he'd be happy.
It should be noted. So basically, the consensus is these dishes are basically equal. The judges can't even fully decide which one is better. Hayama is the king of curry. This is his specialty. And someone comes in and almost ties him.
In 1 month from knowing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
With who knows what dishes in the future of them having to compete against each other. So this is upsetting for both characters. And I kind of like that. I like that the main character didn't win, but really the other character didn't win either. They both take this away as a loss, and that they need to push each other harder.
Yeah.
I would feel better about it if we hadn't have just met
Hayama?
If he had been in it from the beginning.
Or at least a little earlier. Like if we had met him at I think we did meet him at the Camp from Hell, but if he had more of an arc there. Like
Right.
We met him, he showed like a little bit of his skills, and then we had the rest of it. I think it would have been more impactful for me.
Mm-hmm.
The season ends then with Polar Star going back and celebrating. Everyone comes over. Ishiki reaches his 3rd form.
There was something that really stood out to me, and that was Yuki is standing down there giving Megumi congratulations. And Yuki is always the one that's so happy, and she's always got a smile, and I was watching her try to really celebrate for Megumi, and I'm like, are they doing what they think they're doing? Are they doing? And they totally did, and it was the perfect thing to do.
Fumio comes up and comforts her, and she turns around and she is crying and
just bawling her eyes out. And I was like, that's real. Once again, you have written something real into your silly parody. I'm so impressed with this dichotomy of parody and real.
And a character who's not even super developed, but we feel like we know her because of what they've shown such interesting aspects of her character. And so we know Yuki is the silly, upbeat one, and how hard she worked for that and still lost.
Yeah, they come to think of it, they also did something with Ryoko when she lost. She wasn't very happy either. When she saw her name get pushed out of the running, you saw it just for a little bit. It wasn't nearly as drastic as Yuki. But they do. They did that with all the characters. They give them this extra layer that they didn't have to. And that's really cool.
The whole celebration is actually bittersweet because most of these characters didn't win. And they're celebrating right next to the people who did. And so that it's a celebration / kind of mourning almost. Kumi's bummed out. She did really good, but she would have liked to won. And then wait, why is there a naked guy walking around this store?
Yes.
No, yeah, it is interesting to see these Krillins. It's different.
Hey, one of them's got to be a Yamcha.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
They'd be the two guys with no character development.
Right.
Yeah. Yamcha.
Yes.
So would Ikumi be Tien then?
Oh, I thought she was Piccolo.
No. That would be Takumi.
Oh, Takumi's Piccolo.
Well, no, he was supposed to be Vegeta, but turned into a Piccolo.
Turning to Piccolo now.
It'll be interesting to see who's what by the end, for sure. There's more characters to meet in the upcoming tournament.
So Hayama and Jun must be Tienin and Chaozu.
Chaozu.
Anyways, that wraps up our first season. Basically, Soma does the anime shonen, I will get better.
Yeah, so we don't get to see the 4v4 tournament.
Right.
That's next season.
And I do have a little bit of an issue with that
I
because
have a big issue with it.
and especially so I know the second season, that's half the season, and then there's another half. It's like, what? You should have just made the whole tournament one season. You could have planned this a little better.
How long was it after that? I mean, I don't imagine you might know this.
I don't know, and I've been wondering that too. Because, like I said, if you're streaming this now, this is not a big deal. You're pressing play. You're going on to the next episode. Who cares?
Right.
But yeah, if you had to wait 6 months, a year, from season one to season two,
I'd be pissed off if I had to wait 6 months to a year for this. Looking at it now, like with it available, I'm gonna go watch it, so it doesn't bother me. But that's the luxury of coming to the video later,
right?
So I would have to say if they had a big gap in time, that would definitely impact my recommendation of it.
I had to wait between season 2 and season 3, but it ended on a much better tie-in. But I don't know if there was a wait between 1 and 2. By the time I came across it, I came when 2 was almost done. So I just watched 1, watched most of 2, finished 2, waited for 3. So
check it out.
Let's go ahead and move on to our final reviews and wrap this up. Jason, what are you going to give it this time? What's your heart tell you?
Right, my heart says that this was not as strong. I didn't have a tie to the characters like I did in the first half. And I felt that it ended on a bad cliffhanger. This kind of cliffhanger, it irritates me with most shows I watch. It was still funny. It was still fun to watch the cooking, which is weird for me to say for an anime. So I'm going to give my review for the second half a 3. And because of how the arc finished, I'm going to give my whole experience of 1 through 24 a 3.
Okay. I like that. Jeremy, how about you?
So I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it funny. I liked the development of the characters. There's definitely things they could have done to improve it, definitely. But I also wonder how much of that is just the shonen tropes that you have to deal with in a shonen. They picked their genre when they decided to make it. Overall, I came away from it wanting to watch more. They definitely caught me with the cliffhanger. Knowing that the second season is right here at my fingertips, I'm going to click on it. So I gave it a 4 before, and I can't quite give it that much. Maybe it's the fatigue you're talking about, Jason. I can't quite give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 3. And I did check just now, and it was a year. It was from September to July.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Between seasons 1 and 2 in 2015 to 2016. So, yes, I can imagine being there watching this and then having to wait, 11 months.
I might
10 months.
I might come back to this, but I know I'm not going to watch the second season right now or anytime soon. When I get that shonen itch, this will probably be one that I pick up if I'm done with DBZ.
Yeah, you got to do DBZ first, though, don't you? Jumping back to that.
Do what I did. Just jump to the end tournament. The tournament going on right now is so fun.
No, I want to watch and also I'm waiting with the dub. I enjoy dub. I know for the elitists and the purists, that's sacrilege. But because I am a slow reader, when I read, I say the words in my head. I miss a lot of the visuals when I watch subs. So,
gotcha.
For everything we've talked about and everything I've said, especially the cliffhanger again.
Before you do, you need to make
really.
I'm just saying, there's a caveat. You need to make sure that your score here does not include future episodes.
It doesn't.
Okay.
That's it for Baka Baka Baka. Thank you for joining us this week.
You son of a...
It's like they forget who edits.
I know.
These 12 episodes, I'm going to give a 3. But I want to say with a caveat, especially during the tournament part, I had a smile on my face the entire time. I smiled through the entire tournament. In some parts, I almost cried. It's a 3. It's standard shonen fare, but again, it's still very enjoyable. For the whole season, I wanted to point these out earlier, but I want to say it now. This shonen does something other shonens can't do. One, I can do what they're doing on the screen. I can't go Super Saiyan. I can't even kick. Like when I made the food someone made, I sucked at it. It still tasted good, but it took me forever. But I got to do what the heroes were doing, and that was really cool. And even if you're not gonna do it, the fact that you could, the fact that it's a possibility, the fact that what they're doing is interesting to your real world life is an interesting tie and makes this show way better. The other thing is there are no battles in this shonen anime. Not really. There's no punching. There's almost no spectacle that you expect from a shonen anime. So it has to do every other part of the shonen anime better to stay just as entertaining. It has to do the idealism because, and I stole this from a YouTuber named Mother's Basement who I watched on YouTube, and he was analyzing this, and when he mentioned that, I really stuck home because they're not battling. They have to do the setups, the emotional beats better because they don't have the fights to kind of cover up them if they do it bad. So I think it deserves more credit than it gets. And there's a reason Food Wars is in the top 5 animes every week on Crunchyroll when it's airing. It's right up there with Boruto's dad. So for the whole season, I want to give this 4 Bakas too, because I think it's very fun, very enjoyable. If it doesn't offend you, this is an anime worth watching.
How could it offend you?
There are some people who would see the foodgasms and find offense.
You know how rough it was to watch that first episode on the bus? Give me a break.
I forgot about how bad that could be.
There's just people who are more comfortable with, or who aren't comfortable with that amount of sexuality.
Right.
Well, it was really funny because like Tanya asked me, well, did they do it to the guys too? I said, yeah, totally. She's like,
oh yeah, I don't think it's a sexist thing. The nakedest character is a dude, and he looks good naked. Good for him. Right. I don't think it's a sexist thing. I just think some people probably aren't comfortable with this much sexuality in their face like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's fine. So that will wrap it up. If you would like to reach out to us, you can get us on our Twitter at Baka Podcast. You can send us the email, theanimebakaclub@gmail.com, or leave a comment wherever you found this podcast, and we will get back to you. We would love to hear your thoughts on Food Wars. You can even send me stuff on season 2 or season 3. Guys, season 3 is really cool. So we would love to hear your opinions. We have a very special minisode coming up about all these microtransactions that have been in the video game world, and we're going to try to give it a little bit of an anime twist as well. So I hope you guys want to hear that, and that will be next week. Other than that, our next anime is Princess Principal.
And Troy judged me on the title alone.
And the picture. There's 5 girls, and then it says Princess Principal, and I'm like, no, I don't want to hear about a princess who's a principal of a school. That sounds stupid. That's not what it's about, guys.
I honestly thought it was about like princesses in training, and yeah, this is
it's like a James Bond spy thriller about princess and these girls who go undercover
in like 1700s London.
Yeah, so it definitely once I read about it and then looking at the picture and the name, and I'm like, I had no idea what to expect from this anime, and that makes me excited. So that is what we are watching next. It's 12 episodes, and we will talk about that in 2 weeks. Then let's say goodbye.
Ikumi is bae. Ship with Soma.
Glad you liked it.
Sayonara.